Greetings YouTube, Big Terry here with Golden Oaks Worm Company, and today we're checking in on our mealworm farm. So stay tuned. Now it's been a few weeks since we last checked on our mealworm farm, and a lot has transpired in that time. And I think it's about time that we did a sorting and resetting of our bins here in order to start our second batch of mealworm breeding. But first, let's take a look at the status of our 3 drawers here and see just what is going on inside. So if we take a look at our first drawer, you can see that it is pretty much empty. We just have a very few mealworms left that have not pupated. Even under the housing unit, you can see pretty much nothing but skin sheds and molting. In the back here, we have a larger concentration of the few mealworms left, but as you can see, they've slowed down a lot and there's not much movement. So I expect that they will pupate here in the next few weeks or just die off. And at that point, we can reset this drawer and get ready for the babies that are being born in the lower drawers to move up into this one. So let's take a look at our bottom drawer, which has our standard size mealworms. And if you remember the last time we saw this video, it was pretty much filled with nothing but pupa. But let's take a look at it now. And look at the explosion of beetles that we have here. Quite a few darkling beetles. And we still have loads of pupa that have yet to transform. Now, as you can see, we do have a lot of dead pupa or pupa that did not survive to make it through the transformation stage. And we need to sort this drawer and get them out. So let's pull this drawer all the way out so you can get a closer look at the status of it. And as you can see, this trench here is full of darkling beetles. And those are just the ones on the surface. If we lift up this trench here, there are even more underneath. Let's take a look. Way more underneath. And they are busy getting busy. If we take a look under one of the huts here, it is completely full of darkling beetles. So as you can see, we've had quite the explosion, and they are laying probably hundreds, if not thousands of eggs in this drawer. So once we get this properly sifted and reset, we're going to remove all the beetles, the live ones, into a new drawer. We're going to remove all the dead skins and dead pupa and just leave the unpupated pupa in here to continue turning into darkling beetles and continue the egg laying cycle. Let's put this house back and take a look at under another one. Let's try this one here. And see, he's got lots and lots of beetles. And the lighter skin ones are, like I said, the newest ones that have hatched most recently. The darker brown ones are the ones that are a little older, and the black ones are the oldest. So once they have made it, they tend to dig down into the substrate and lay their eggs toward the bottom. So once we sift this drawer out, we'll have all of the eggs down at the bottom of it, and they'll all go to a lower level. So as you can see, they are still enjoying the moisture from the carrot. And if we lift up this house here, I'm pretty sure we're going to find Even more beetles. Yep. So you might be wondering just how exactly we're going to sort all of this out. And to that end, we have ordered some sifting trays that we're going to use in order to organize and separate our beetles from our pupae, from our eggs, from our wheat bran, and everything in between. And once again, it is Amazon to the rescue to help us with that task. And we have found possibly the perfect tool for the job. So let me take a moment to get everything set up, and we will show you how we get this back in order and get our system back on track. But before that, let's take a look at our middle drawer, which houses the superworm beetles. Now, granted, there are not as many of them, but they are bigger and more robust than our regular mealworms. And they too are doing pretty well, mating and laying possibly hundreds, if not thousands of eggs also in the substrate. As you can see, that one digging down there right now to go lay some eggs, more than likely. And you can see that not all of them, get through the pupation stage intact. Some of them are damaged, but it doesn't seem to affect them too much. As you can see, they're about to get busy right there. Looks like we caught a pair about to mate as we speak. Yeah, they're about to get it on. And let's pull this drawer out a little bit as well. And we can take a look at some of the ones here in the back. And it looks like we got a dead one to remove there. So we'll get him out. And we can see more of them digging down into the substrate to go lay eggs. Now we have incorporated some wheat bran, which is this finer material down, so that when our babies are born, they have something to eat, because these oat flakes will be way too big for them to digest. So we have been sprinkling in some wheat bran, as well as adding carrots periodically to make sure that they have the moisture that they need and that they don't end up consuming their own eggs for moisture. So as you can see, we have been pretty successful with our mealworm farm thus far. We're going to get everything organized and reset. As you can see, there are quite a few beetles still underneath this hut here as well. We're going to get this sorted out, reset, and we'll show you how we start this whole cycle all over again. So let's get everything set up and we'll be right back. I almost forgot to mention our mini mealworm kit that we have set up to look at this whole experience on a smaller scale. And as you can see, we only put a handful of beetles in here to begin with, but let's take a look at that and see how they're doing as well. So let's take the top off this here mini kit. And let's take a look under the hut and see if we got anything under here. Oh yeah, we do. We do have some beetles underneath here. So just a handful. They'll possibly be mating. There's one there that looks like it pupated, but also had some troubles, not fully formed, at least the wings are not, but it still seems to be alive, chomping down on some carrot. And the other ones are there, also getting a little bit of food in their system, more than likely. And they will also be having eggs, laying eggs soon. And those eggs, once they dig down, will fall into this lower tray where they will also start hatching. And this lower tray is full mostly with wheat bran, because that is where the baby mealworms will end up once they're laid and hatched. And then at the very, very bottom is our final drawer that has the finest material, the frass that we will be harvesting for our garden. And that's the dead skins and castings of the finest material that is the byproduct of this whole process. So yeah, so things are going pretty well here at our Mealworm Farm, and our smaller kit is doing just as good as our bigger kit. As you can see, we do have a dead pupa there that we will have to take out because it's now no longer viable. But the ones that we do have here seem to be getting to work. You can see them digging down into the substrate to lay eggs as we speak. All right, guys, so I'm going to get set up here to get the sifting process started, and we will get all of this cleaned up and reset. So we are back, and we have increased our drawer count to 6 total drawers, and we have marked and labeled them from top to bottom as our superworm bonus tray, our beetle bin tray, 0 to 4 weeks, and then down from the bottom to the top, we have our mealworm tray from 5 to 8 weeks all the way up to 20 weeks. And we are going to sort and sift our beetles into these different drawers, as well as start tracking the dates that we put them in these drawers so we can rotate them from drawer to drawer as the weeks go by. And that way we can better document the process of how long it takes for each phase to go through and how long it takes for our babies to start showing up once beetles have done their thing. Now, in order to start sifting these, organizing these trays, I have purchased some tools, as I mentioned. First off, we have a standard 5-gallon bucket that you can get from either, Tractor Supply, for example, or Lowe's. Just a standard 5-gallon bucket. I've decided to use a white one for this endeavor so that it's easier to visualize. Lowe's buckets tend to be the dark blue, which may be harder to see. But as you can see, this is a food grade bucket, BPA free, which is exactly what we are going to be using to store our frass in a food grade bucket. But now the biggest tool that we have to sort our beetles is a set of bucket sifters. Now this is a set of 6, and they come in various different size meshes. So we have the very large mesh there. Then we have a slightly smaller mesh, all the way down to our smallest one, which would be right here, which is what we'll be using which would catch our frass and any of the smaller material, hopefully eggs. Now they do make a couple more that are smaller meshes, but I think this will be enough for our purposes to get started. If I find that I need to sift down any further than this, then I'll get those additional meshes as needed. So these sifters are usually used, they're called soil sifters, but I think they were used for like gold miners and people looking for gold and stuff at one point, but they will actually serve our purposes very well. And they sit right on top of the Tractor Supply bucket or any 5-gallon bucket, as I'll show you here. And just like that, we have our sifting system. So now we're going to start with our regular mealworm tray, since that's the one that needs the most attention. And we're going to see exactly how these buckets work out. So let's get that process started. So we have our first tray here, the main mealworm tray, the lower, happens to be the lowest tray at this point. And we're going to remove this entire tray from the tower. As you can see, it is quite in need of attention. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the huts removed and get the beetles, try to get the beetles off of here so that we can remove the huts. Yeah. They like to cling, which is going to actually help us to sort the system because they will cling to the mesh, and that way only the live beetles. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult. So let me just dump this entire tray into the sifter and it'll help us to sort this out. So we're going to do a little bit at a time just so that we can control the rate at which these beetles fall down. So we're going to put this trench in here first. Then we'll get the huts in here. And then we'll just slowly add the rest of our tray here. As you can see, all the material, including the substrate, is going into the sifter here. So, all right, so we got that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna give this a nice shake. And please excuse the noise. Actually, let's put this on the ground just so I have a bit more control. That way, it might be easier to visualize as well. All right, so let's give this a good shake. As you can see, already the material is falling through with the beetles, leaving just the trench and the hut, as well as the carrots, which will all go back into the bin with the beetles. So let's get this huts out of here. Let's get the rest of these beetles off. We'll take out the carrot. We'll dispose of the more drier carrot pieces and keep the fresher pieces back in the drawer with the beetles. So move that. Set the trench here aside for just a moment while we remove the rest of the carrot. So that first tray basically separates the beetles and the contents of the tray from the larger material, like such as the carrots, the hut, and the trench here, which will all go back. Come on, there you go. There we go. They love their carrot, their baby carrot. Now, what we'll do is we will get our beetle bin tray out as well, because they are all going back into this tray, the beetle bin 0 to 4 weeks. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put their food source, the substrate, back in, which would be the wheat bran. So let's do that first. Okay, so here we have our wheat bran. Now I wanted to make a note that this wheat bran was baked at 275 degrees for a little over an hour to kill off any mites that may have been in here from the mill. So this bran is completely free of mites and will be perfectly sanitized for our beetles to eat. And this material is also smaller than the rolled oats so that when the eggs start hatching from here, that it'll be small enough for the babies to eat, so they have some sustenance as well. So now that we have this drawer ready to go, let's get our beetles moved into it. So first things first, we're gonna put the trench back in, since we still have quite a few beetles in there. All right. Now we'll take off the remaining carrots, and beetles that are still attached, they can go right back into the beetle bin, the 0 to 4 weeks. And we can take off this first sifter, set it aside. Make sure there's nothing on the bottom here. Looks like, oh, we still got to see, we got a little beetle that hitchhiked right there. So you always want to check, tap him out. Okay, here we go. We got him tapped out and into the tray. Now our next tray down, let's do a little bit of sifting here. And this is mostly beetles as well. And maybe some pupa in here. You can see the rolled oats take up a lot of space, and they don't fall through the sifter as easily. So that's why another reason why we're switching to the wheat brand, because it's easier to sift out. Alrighty, so this is mostly beetles, and we do have some dead pupa here, as well as some very dry carrot. So let's let's get the carrots out, and we can smaller dry carrot there. Now, one of the other tricks that we can use to help get these beetles out is a trick that I learned from watching some YouTube videos. We can use some paper towel. So we're gonna let some paper towel sit on top of this bin for a little while and let the beetles attach to it. That way we can just lift up the towel, and only thing that will be attached to it will be the live beetles. Anything that is dead or not moving will stay in the tray. So let's grab some paper towels. Be right back. So here we just laid some paper towel right on top of this particular sifter, and we're going to give a few minutes for the beetles to attach to it. Then we'll lift it, flip it, and put the towel on the next tray down, and put our beetles back in this tray to sift again. So this process takes a few steps, but it's possibly the best way in order to do this. And as you can see, our tray here is looking much better with just beetles and carrots in it. And that is the goal. We just want beetles. We don't want any pupa in this tray, because once our babies start to be born, the beetles will they'll be sifted again and go into the lower trays, and this tray will just be beetles once again. So we're cleaning up our trays slowly but surely, and that's the best way to do that. Okay, so we gave beetles a few minutes, so we'll lift this top tray here and shake it a bit. And as you can see, we do have some live beetles there that are falling through. So we'll take our paper towel here, and we'll lift it and put it into our beetle bin. I'll set this down again for a second. And I see the whole paper towel goes in, and that way just the live beetles are attached and running around, and then we'll shake them off and remove any pupa that may have hitched a ride along with them. And we'll keep this process going over and over again until we got all of our beetles out. So one technique that I've noticed helped is to constantly swap between the second and third trays. So that's what we'll do here. So that we have, see this tray that has the paper towel in it. So now we'll swap it again with the slightly bigger tray. Remove our paper towel first. And we'll pull this one out as well. And any attached beetles will go right into the drawer. Put a new paper towel down in this lower tray, and then we'll dump this one again. And we'll give them again a few minutes to attach to the paper towel. In the meantime, we'll swap this tray, put it underneath. Give it a little shake as well to help. Now, mainly we're just trying to get the live beetles to hitch a ride on the paper towel. So it's okay if the material doesn't fall through to the lower tray. But in the meantime, we shall take the beetles off of this paper towel and put them in the drawer as well. Yeah, so this technique does take a little while, but it's the best way I know how to make sure that we only get beetles in this drawer. And any live beetles, I should say, and anything that's dead or pupa will stay out. So we'll give them a few minutes to get settled, and we'll continue this process until we're all done. So I'm not going to bore you guys with just doing this over and over again. I'll let you see the final results in just a minute. Be right back. So after some time, we can see that most of what we're left with is nothing but dead pupa and skins. The vast majority of our live beetles made it to the beetle tray. And we have nothing but viable looking pupa in the pupa tray. So now everything else in this particular sieve can be discarded as trash. Now, some of our smaller beetles did make it to the next tray down, so let's take a look at that one. And one thing I've noticed going forward, we will not be using oatmeal for the substrate. Now, while it is a good food source, it is not doesn't sift well, so we won't be using it going forward. We would just be using the wheat bran going forward. So here you can see just a few beetles, live beetles and pupa. So we're not going to bother sorting this any further. We're just going to dump the entire contents into our beetle bin here. Give it a tap. All right, and the only thing we're left with here is the finer wheat bran, which we can put back into our pupa tray as a food source for when they start hatching. Just like that. And down here in the very bottom of the bucket, we are left with our mealworm frass, which can be used as fertilizer in our garden. So that is a byproduct of the mealworm process, and it's also a good food source for plants and our garden. So that's exactly what we're going to use this for, mealworm frass, everybody. And that is pretty much it for this sorting session. We have our beetles now in their own beetle tray. So they will go up to the top bin, 0 to 4 weeks. So that is pretty much it for our sorting session. Now we can move the fully grown 7 to 20 week beetle bin down, and we can put our 0 day to 4 week beetle bin right under our superworm bin, which we won't really have to sort because there's not too many beetles in there. So they can be contained in their own drawer. And then our 17 to 20 weeks will go right underneath our new beetle bin. And everything else is in its proper place. So now the only thing left to do is to mark the date that we set our beetle bin in place, which is 8/4/26, and we got beetles in. And then just like that, 8/4/26 beetles in. Now that we have this marked, we will check it again in 4 weeks, and we will sift the beetle bin again, and any mealworm babies that are possibly in there will go into our mealworm 5 to 8 week bin, and we'll just shuffle this along. So I'll just put this sticky note here on our beetle bin, so we know what date that we did this, and in 4 weeks, we will check it again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too confusing. As you can see, it is a bit of a time-consuming process, but it's a hobby that we are getting into in order to breed mealworms for our quail as a supplemental diet. So it is worth it. So until next time, if you like this channel, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll put a link in the description of this video for those sifting trays if you would like to get some for yourself. And if you do, please use the link in that description. It does help to support the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So until we meet again, this is Big Terry with Golden Oaks Worm Company signing off.